So you had a shooting that had just happened in New York City. And so the shooting that happened in New York City, you had this white man who flat out executed a guy named Brian Thompson, 50 years old, and then hopped on a bicycle and then just rode away. And he's still at large. It's nearly 24 hours later. Now, Brian Thompson, this 50-year-old Brian Thompson, he's a CEO of a $500 billion company called UnitedHealthcare Group Insurance. Now, the white man assassin shot Brian Thompson in the back and the leg and the chest. 3 bullet casings were found at the scene. The gun looked like it had a silencer on it, and the gun had jammed. So he had to clear the chamber manually for each and every shot. The gun had jammed for all 3 shots. That's why some people speculate that he was a professional, since he was able to handle that gun so well, in spite of it jamming. When the white man assassin shot Brian Thompson in the back, he was standing just 10 feet behind Brian Thompson. The white man assassin was lying in wait earlier in the morning. Brian Thompson came from the Marriott Hotel, or the Luxury Collection Hotel, I've heard both of them, at West 54th Street, a few blocks away, to the Hilton Hotel in Midtown to attend an investor conference of UnitedHealthcare groupies. Brian Thompson came from Minneapolis, Maple Grove, a suburb in Minneapolis, and he arrived in New York City on Monday, December 2nd, 2024, 2 days prior. So they found 9mm rounds, they found 9mm shell casings found at the scene. Some speculate that he is a professional. It looked like he's wearing all these expensive clothing. But then other people had speculated that he wasn't a professional, because why would you buy such a crappy gun? The white man assassin came from Starbucks. Also, not a smart thing for a professional. Go to Starbucks. Some DNA was gathered from Starbucks, but they said it wasn't enough to point to a specific person. Apparently, the white man killer was wearing gloves, but it didn't look like it in the photos. It looked like it was just his Caucasian hands. Around 7 a.m., he got to the shooting scene about 5 minutes before Brian Thompson walks by. And after he shoots Brian Thompson, the white man assassin carefully and slowly crosses the street, jogged to the alley behind the Hilton Hotel, and then the white man assassin got on a city e-bike and then rode to Central Park, where apparently they don't have any surveillance cameras. So what's up with that, Mayor Adams? I'm sure Paperboy Prince would have had surveillance cameras in Central Park on day 1. He also wouldn't have taken all those bribes either. So the white man bicyclist, he was dressed in all black. His upper face was visible. His eyes and a little above his eyes, you could see. So if he's a professional, why would he go to Starbucks, possibly leave his DNA? He also dropped his phone. He dropped his phone. And so he has all this nice clothing, but he didn't have a decent gun. And then people were saying that it was one. I saw some gun experts say that it wasn't the gun that people thought it was. So we definitely know that it was a white man. And the white man assassin had woke up early in the morning, got dressed, it's super cold. How did he know where the guy was going to be? He dropped the cell phone in the alley. People wonder if that's a burner phone or a red herring. Is that a burner phone? Is that just a phone to throw away? Or is that his actual phone? The white man bicyclist has got a distinctive backpack. He had a ski mask. I've seen some impressive masks that are out there. Just you can take a thin piece of fabric and put it over your face, and it completely changes what the person's face looks like. People also say you can analyze the gait of the person's walk. Now, even though all this had happened just a couple blocks away from where the lighting of the Rockefeller Christmas tree will still go on, the public officials, the politicians are saying, don't worry, New York City. Everybody's safe. You can still go to the lighting of the Rockefeller Christmas tree. The Xmas tree shall be lit. And so, New York City will still go on. And so will the 24/7, 365-day media cycle as well. So Brian Thompson was specifically targeted. but we don't know exactly what the motive is. Was it a hired hit? Is this a professional hit job? Was he paid by the board of directors? Was he paid by a number 2 guy, the person who's going to take his chair? This is a $500 billion company. This is a $500 billion company. So maybe it was an inside job. Maybe he was a hired killer. Maybe the white male bicyclist, the white man assassin, the white male killer may have been a disgruntled customer. Maybe the white man had a grandmother who needed those healthcare benefits, or the UnitedHealthcare group had denied her treatment for her heart replacement. I think it's more likely that this person was paid to do it. It just seems like it seems like it was a professional job. When I think about it being a $500 billion company, when you think about all the countries of the world, you got 195 countries. There is a list that was made back in 2017, and it compared the top 100 economies of the world. And out of the top 100 economies of the world, 71 of those economies are corporations. That means corporations are making more money yearly than most of the countries in the world. 71 corporations are making more money yearly than most of the countries in the world. You got 195 countries in the world, 29 are in the top 100, but 71 of those 100 are corporations. That's insanity. That is so insane. When one thinks of the world, you shouldn't just think in nation-state terms, but a combination of nation-states and corporations. So which of these countries are actually bigger than most countries? Now there's some big name corporations there. You got your Walmart, your Shell, ExxonMobil, Volkswagen, BP, Apple, Toyota, Berkshire Hathaway. So when you think of Bolivia, Chile, when you think of Botswana, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, AT&T, Microsoft, JP Morgan, Kroger, and Nissan are all bigger than these countries. Walgreens, Amazon, Honda, Costco, General Motors, CVS. These are big name corporations, but there's also a bunch of corporations I've never even heard of. You had something called the BNP Paribas. Then you also had the CSCEC and the AXA. These aren't companies, these are just damn letters. The AXA has a greater profit margin than South Africa. The AXA has a greater profit margin than Azerbaijan. And in the list of 100 economies, the UnitedHealthcare group was number 39. It was number 39, and this is, 7 years ago. They got AI, they've been kicking people off. They got a 32% rejection of claims. They used AI to reject those claims, and they were sanctioned for denying folks health care that they have a right to have. And apparently, this Brian Thompson had dumped at least $15 million of personal UHC stock before announcing a DOJ investigation, which caused the stock to fall. And it lost investors, which I would assume includes the BOD, millions in stock loss. So, why would a board of directors do something like this? Maybe to save the company. It does seem weird that if the UnitedHealthcare Group is a country, number 39, that means the UnitedHealthcare Group is actually on the list. They're bigger than Saudi Arabia. The UnitedHealthcare Group is bigger than Denmark and Greece, bigger than Finland and Argentina and Venezuela and Indonesia. That's in the top 100. So any countries that are poorer than Saudi Arabia, Denmark, Greece, Venezuela, Indonesia, Finland, and Argentina are poorer than the UnitedHealthcare Group. So that would make Brian Thompson the king of this hierarchy, the king of this raw material extracting and manufacturing and healthcare, insurance. So just a piece of paper. Here, yeah, we'll cover you. Give us money and we'll give you some coverage. In 2000, the stock was at $6 a stock. Now it's well over $600 per stock. So it's kind of crazy that a CEO of a major country, a corporate country, the 39th biggest corporate country in the world, at least in 2017, they're probably higher now. He didn't have any Secret Service. He didn't have any protection. He was just a guy walking from one hotel in New York City to another hotel. Like I said before, 32% of the claims were rejected. He used AI. They were being sanctioned because they were denying folks the health care that they had a right to have. I'm wondering if it's smarter to invest in an insurance stock than it is to buy an insurance premium. You buy the insurance thinking that when you need it for a rainy day, then you'll have it there. But in the end, you end up putting more money into that insurance and you don't get enough back. So the return is a lot less than what you invested in. So it'd be smarter, especially if you're a healthy person or a young person, to invest in an insurance stock. You would make money off that stock. Those premiums go straight to the investor's dividend. So I think that a person would rather be rich and then just pay for your health care than purchasing a possible safety net that you may never need or use. Now, there's been a lot of comments that people have made, and a lot of people are complaining about how awful it is. But ultimately, why do you have all this anger? Why are Americans so callous? Why are Americans so mad? People are saying that he got shot, right? So the CEO of this healthcare private corporation, he got shot. And he probably, was dead on the scene. So why did you get the ambulance? And why did he go to the hospital? Did he have insurance to cover his medical needs? He's rich, so he actually doesn't need health insurance. But people are making jokes about, well, was his ambulance in the network? How about the hospital? How about the doctors? Did he have pre-approval? Did he have pre-existing conditions? Well, he had, that was just lead poisoning, right? You have a pre-existing lead poisoning ailment, so we're not going to cover you. People are saying we're going to send thoughts and prayers. Well, how about send prior authorization and denied claims and then collections? One person said, kill one person, you're a murderer. Can kill 100,000 people, then you're increasing shareholder value. And then the company stock went up after the shooting, which that's incredible. That actually goes to one of the board of directors doing it, right? This guy is getting the investigation. This guy made the decisions of the AI. He went ahead and increased the shareholder value. People also said that he did what he loved doing. He wanted to increase shareholder value. That's what he was working on. So he had died doing what he loved to do. Brian had acute lead poisoning. His acute lead poisoning claim was denied. That's a pre-existing condition. You don't have money to get an ambulance. You don't have money for the EMS. You don't have money for the hospital. You don't have money for the doctor. Wait a second, is that a real emergency? I mean, he was DOA, right? He was DOA. So all this is just superfluous. An insurance company, such as the one that he worked for, wouldn't cover his own. They're just going through the motions. He's got to pay the full deductible. If not the entire, if you want the people's care, you'll need a prior approval first with a full deductible, and then afterwards we'll just give you some supplemental care, pending approval. Meanwhile, 220,000 Palestinians have been killed. There's more empathy, there's more outpouring for the CEO of a blood-sucking corporation that's denied people. How many people die in America that don't have health insurance? I've heard 40,000, 60,000, 100,000. And then specifically, this company, 32% they denied. Were all those claims not good enough? When I think about the argument of people saying about Daniel Penny, what was Daniel Penny doing? Daniel Penny had to get involved. He had to do something about it. He saw one person who was threatening another person. Well, this person already denied all the claims. So he's already injured people. And there's no telling how many people have died under his watch. We don't have universal health care in this country because of private health insurance companies. They give money to the politicians. The politicians go in and pass legislation on their behalf. So, if you want the people's care, then you're going to have to pay the full deductible. When it comes to Daniel Penning, he intervened when he saw a threatening person. How many lives have been lost because of inadequate care? I heard one person had posted that this guy specifically stole $70,000 a year from him and ended up denying her care. And she needed life-saving surgery. So when this CEO says he's got acute lead poisoning, he needs life-saving surgery. Yeah, but is it? I don't know. We need to have a board. We need to have a group. We need to have some kind of meeting. Daniel Penning used a chokehold until the guy died out. But that's just a poor black man, right? That was just a homeless black man that society isn't going to give a damn about. But wait a second. You got a millionaire? A millionaire, the white man assassin, used a silencer. The chokehold and a silencer, both of those are illegal in New York City. The AI was found to have a 90% error rate. Whoops! We use artificial intelligence to determine whether or not your life was worthy, and 90% of the AI used had an error rate. But the healthcare, UnitedHealthcare group, they continued to use the AI. It resulted in people being denied medically necessary and fully covered treatments. So, here's another comment. It says, it would not surprise me if the killer had stalked Thompson because UnitedHealthcare had denied medical coverage or forced a family or an individual into bankruptcy. After the company had failed to cover a serious illness, insurers reject about 1 in 7 claims for treatment, often by deciding that the treatment is not medically necessary. If America had universal health care, then his business wouldn't even be a thing. So some people are saying he'd still be alive today. If there was universal health care, he would have found work in a different field. Instead of being a bloodsucker, he would still be alive today. Among the 10 high-income nations, the United States spends the most on health care, but has the worst health outcomes. Exorbitant medical bills account for about 40% of the bankruptcies. There's a thing called medical bankruptcy in America. So when you go into the hospital and you have a child who needs care, well, you don't have insurance, well, they're going to bankrupt you. You have insurance, well, they're still going to bankrupt you because the insurance isn't going to cover it. So it's going to be a maximum amount anyways. You're going to get stuck with the bill. They're going to think you have insurance. They're going to give you the works. And then you're going to be stuck with the bill. And then you're going to have to pay that bill for the... So it's like they hold your children hostage. They hold your sick and dying children or your sick and dying grandmother and grandfathers hostage until they get their money. Many of those that were driven into bankruptcy was because the medical bills, and the people that had the medical bills had medical insurance. 6 of the largest insurers, Anthem, Centene, Cigna, AVS, Aetna, Humana, and UnitedHealth, have more than quadrupled since 2010 to be a $1.1 trillion industry. Combined revenues of the 3 biggest, United, CVS, Aetna, and Cigna, have quintupled. So in moral terms, these corporations are legally permitted to hold sick children hostage while their parents bankrupt themselves to save their sons and daughters. Many people die, at the very least a premature death, because these policies are indisputable. 100 million Americans are saddled with medical debt. And you know there are other CEOs, bro. UnitedHealth CEO Brian Thompson died what he loved doing the most, increasing shareholder value. Today we mourn the deaths of the 68,000 Americans who needlessly die each year so that insurance company executives like Brian Thompson can become multimillionaires. With all this anger, all this populist anger about not having our universal health care, not having a system like Canada where you could go into the hospital and then walk out and all bills are paid, the state pays it. Instead, America pays the most for health care with the least outcomes. Is that rational? Does that even make any sense? Hey, give me $1 million and I'll give you no care at all. Just carry that logic all the way forward. Take it all the way to the extreme. You pay me $1 million and I'll say, nope, we don't have enough insurance to get you covered. I'll be the new hospital. You give me $1 million and I'll deny you coverage. So it's crazy that the Democrats couldn't tap into this left populism. There's anger with the war, there's anger with poverty, there's anger with police brutality, there's anger with homelessness. And yet when Kamala ran for president, she said she was going to get tough on the border. She said she's going to have a most lethal army. She said something about giving the FTC more power to go after the big box stores. And maybe that would lower grocery prices. Maybe not. So we get liberal breadcrumbs. Where was 2020 Kamala at? Instead we get 2024. So she's to the left of Bernie in 2020 and then she's to the right of Donald in 2024. And this is in Manhattan. I mean, where's the king of Manhattan at? Who's the king of Manhattan? What is it, Pete Hegseth? No, it's Pete Davidson. No, wait, Pete Davidson is the king of Staten Island. Ariana Grande, Kim Kardashian. So Staten Island is different from Manhattan? And it was in Midtown. Democrats have shown infinitely more empathy for Brian Thompson than they ever have for any of the people with medical bankruptcy, medical debt, people that have sickness and ailments. We're supposed to have a right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness in this country. Without health, you don't have life. A $10 million affair? He makes $10 million? So this guy's a millionaire, right? Oh no! A millionaire has gone down. Oh no! What about the poor Palestinian child? Oh no! What about the poor American child that didn't have enough health and care? What about the people that die in their 70s? When it comes to the 1%, they die when they're 88. So how come the 1% are dying, their life expectancy is to be 88, which is 15 years longer than the life expectancy of the average American male? So if you're part of the 1%, you're going to be all the way 90 years old. But if you're a regular American male, well, you're not even going to make 80. You're not even going to pass 15, so 73 years? That's it for you. So the 1% gets another 15 years over the rest of us. Somebody asked, what stage of capitalism is it when a healthcare insurance CEO is off and everybody laughs? Is this guy burning in hell? Blue Cross, Blue Shield? Right now they just announced that they're no longer covering anesthesia for the full length of certain surgeries in Connecticut, New York, and Missouri. That's some really bad timing, Blue Cross and Blue Shield. Anesthesia for surgery? Nah, we're not in Connecticut, New York, Missouri. We're not going to give you anesthesia anymore. It's too damned expensive. We're an insurance company. We're trying to make money for our shareholders here. We can't just give you health care that you need. We need to make as much profits as we can. If a surgery exceeds a specific duration, anesthesia costs for the additional time will not be covered. Great job, Blue Cross Blue Shield. Brian Thompson killed more American citizens than probably every serial killer combined. And not only did he cause the deaths of a bunch of U.S. citizens, but he made money off of it. And because he made so much money off of it, the media considered him a successful businessman and a morally upstanding citizen. His life is more important than the Palestinian child's. UHC CEO Brian Thompson, they said, won't see your jokes about him dying, but the other healthcare insurance CEOs in your life will. This is a wake-up call to the other healthcare industry, the other healthcare insurance CEOs. This guy says, after watching my father decide to basically refuse care and commit suicide instead of watching health insurance companies pick his bones dry while he was still alive to do something, is something he'll never forget. So his father's going to die of something that could have been prevented, and then they were coming after his mother too. Honestly, with the grotesque, profit-driven way healthcare is run in this country, I'm shocked that what happened to Brian Thompson doesn't happen more often. Brian Thompson mugged the sick for $371 billion in 2023, while denying 32% of their claims on the insurance that he sold them. So people are saying that Brian Thompson is literally a serial killer. He caused more deaths than the people that died on 9/11. So these people that are causing more American deaths than Saudi Arabia did on 9/11, we're supposed to shed a tear. We're supposed to be sad about this stuff. And why couldn't the Democrats tap into any of this anger? People are pissed off. You think it's just that they have an outpouring support of love for the oppressed? They're going through it too. And so they know that we're all connected in this. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. You let that poor baby get shot and killed. Well, hell, maybe you'll start shooting babies in Missouri. Now, they said that Brian Thompson was set to testify before Congress over UnitedHealthcare's hacks, as well as their business practices. So that's convenient. If you're the board of directors, you just got rid of the problem, right? Oh, he made the decisions. He was the one that was going to be investigated. And the stock goes up. Brian Thompson gets shot, and the stock goes up. The politicians in New York City said, let's move on. He has some friends, some politicians. He's been putting money in the politicians' pockets. So some people are saying, hey, guys, he's a human being with a family. He was also a healthcare CEO who was responsible for more deaths than Al-Qaeda every year. 68,000 people are getting killed. Those people were human beings with families too. Wouldn't that make Brian Thompson just as despicable as the people making jokes about this? Just a friendly reminder, in 2024, Brian Thompson's leadership led UnitedHealthcare to deny claims to 31.5 million sick Americans. 31.5 million sick Americans were denied. By contrast, undocumented migrants in the USA killed fewer than 20 American citizens during that same time span. Who's your real enemy, America? Brian Thompson's murder took place out of the network. Lenny Briscoe looks like this one will be an out-of-pocket expense. UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson was just 50 years old at the time of his murder. And that's tragic because the top 1% was supposed to be 88 years. Their life expectancy was 88. It's good and salutary if the very many guilty among our elites start to live in fear of expedited, unanswerable, and unexpected punishment for their sins. At the heart of every little spiteful joke and quip about the killing of Brian Thompson is a seed of recognition of the class war against us all. And we should nourish that seed. Why are so many people pissed off? Because we should be pissed off. We're America. We are Americans. And we don't give a damn if our neighbors are dying or getting bankrupted because they got sick one day. Or their dads got sick, or their sons got sick, or their family members. This guy remembered one day the UnitedHealthcare denied a one-night hospital stay for the guy's 12-year-old child as medically unnecessary after an ASD heart repair surgery. Oh, you need heart surgery and you want to stay for another day in the hospital? Get the hell out of here. Brian Thompson's being congratulated for avoiding a long and expensive end-of-life illness. That's going to save the healthcare industry a lot of money. My God, if at the end of his life he just had to have intensive care, well, he doesn't have to do that anymore. He won't have to fill with struggles to obtain care from the insurance companies that employ AI to deny 90% of the claims submitted. 32% of all the claims are being denied. The important thing about the assassination of the UnitedHealthcare CEO is that no people were actually hurt. They're going to spend 100 times more manpower and money to find the UHC CEO shooter than they ever did investigating the UHC's unlawful practices and the deaths that they called. Kenny John was killed by Christopher Mondragon. How many people get shot and killed in America, and then it's a cold case after 48 hours? There's a $10,000 reward for this guy. If you could find out who did it, you could get $10,000. Why? Because his life is so much more important than the rest of our lives? JFK is going to suplex from the top rope. John F. Kennedy says, those who make peaceful revolution impossible make violent revolution inevitable. Somebody said, just imagine if the CEO was a Palestinian, right? You'll feel better. Who gives a shit about the lives of the Palestinians, huh? Who gives a shit about those lives? Maybe he's got some Palestinian blood. I mean, then who gives a shit? Just a reminder that 100,000 Americans are murdered every year because they can't afford health care. 100 million Americans have medical debt, all due to our for-profit predatory insurance system that needs to be dismantled and replaced with a nationalized healthcare system, just like every country in Europe is doing. Yeah, Europe figured out, well, we're going to care about the education because we care about the people's minds. We don't want stupid people, and we're going to have hospital, either cheap or free. Free or cheap. Why? Because we care about the health of our people, not America. We haven't been able to figure that out. So as despicable as people want to say those jokes are, there's actual anger that's behind those jokes, and it's a righteous anger, and it's right. We're sick and tired of seeing our poor brothers and our own family members dying for these for-profit companies. And then we're asked to give a damn about one of the rich people who is running the show and cutting all of our claims. We're expected to have an outpouring of support after you've killed 220,000 Palestinians. We're supposed to give a damn when you walk past the homeless people every goddamn day. 500,000 homeless in America, which means we can take care of it. We got 330 million Americans. If everybody donated $5, we would have enough money to build them houses. Can we not donate $5? How many taxes are being taken from us? Where are our taxes going? How come our taxes don't go to hospitals and homes for the homeless and the things that we need?